Hi, this is Gracie, Sasha, and Gustavo's final project. Today we will be talking about the minimum wages in North Carolina, Illinois, and Virginia and how this topic relates back to our math class. These are our articles in MLA format, but you can also find links to some of them at the end of our slides. First, we'll start off with the minimum wage in each state. In North Carolina, it's $7.25. In Illinois, it is $9, and in Virginia, it's $12. Now we'll do an article summary and relevance to the math class for each state. So we'll start with North Carolina. This article shared the current minimum wage, which is $7.25 as of 2025, and how it will increase over the next several years. There were a lot of connections to topics that were covered in our math class, such as income distribution and poverty thresholds. There were also talks of budgeting, minimum wage income, and how to live off of that. For Illinois, the connections to our math class were very similar, actually the exact same. And this article shared the current minimum wage in Illinois, which is $9 for tipped employees and $15 for non-tipped employees. For Virginia, this article discussed the current minimum wage, which is $12 an hour, and how it plans to increase $1.50 over the next year. It explores whether these increases keep up with inflation and the actual cost of living, especially in cities like Richmond and Northern Virginia. There were a lot of topics in this article that related back to our math class, such as financial planning, mathematical modeling, statistics, and unit conversion. Now we did the math extension and calculation for each state, starting with North Carolina. The question being, can someone working full-time on minimum wage in North Carolina afford basic living? So given that the wage is $7.25 an hour, and you worked 40 hours a week for 52 weeks, and we used a monthly expense calculator to gather that you'd need around $2,400 a month to be able to live. For our calculations, we figured out our annual income, our monthly income, and then we subtracted. And it came out that at $7.25 an hour, a full-time worker earns $1,143.34 less per month that is needed to cover the basic living cost. For Illinois, we used the same question. Can someone working full-time at minimum wage afford basic living expenses? Used the calculator to figure out how much someone would need to live off of, and did all of the calculations, and at $11 an hour, a full-time worker earns $493.34 less per month than needed to cover basic living costs. For Virginia, we used the same question, used the same formula, and realized that at $12 an hour, a full-time worker earns $320 less per month than needed to cover basic living cost. The mathematical concepts we used for this part of the project included proportional reasoning, budget, deficient modeling, and unit conversions. Finally, we have our connections and our final thoughts. We need to promote, sustain inclusive economic growth and decent work for all. A living wage supports this goal by reducing poverty and enabling stable employment. Math helps policymakers model and forecast how wages increases affect poverty levels and cost of living. And why does it matter? It matters because when minimum wage policies affect affordability, equity, and long-term financial stability for millions, math gives us the tools to quantify that impact and inform sustainable decisions. Thank you. Here are some more of our sources. I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.